When a drone enthusiast takes a picture of something unusual, the world suddenly pays attention when it is uploaded onto the internet. Many academics are left in total shock. The drone buzzed quietly as it soared high above the remote countryside. Suddenly, the screen flickered with an unusual sight, a mound-like formation hidden among the trees. The operator zoomed in. It was a strange, ancient-looking structure. Alex Mitchell was an amateur archaeologist with a passion for uncovering the past, and yet he'd never seen anything like it. The shape and placement were unlike anything seen before. The image from his drone showed what looked like an ancient burial site. Alex's heart raced with excitement. Could it be an undiscovered archaeological treasure? He immediately downloaded the photo and began researching the area. The more he looked into it, the more convinced he became that this could be something significant. He decided he had to see the site for himself. He packed his drone, some basic aviation tools, and a notebook, and set off early the next morning. The location was a few hours' drive away, in a secluded part of the countryside that few people ever visited. When he finally arrived, the site seemed even more intriguing than it looked in the picture. The mound was partially hidden by thick underbrush. Alex quickly set up his drone and launched it into the sky, eager to get a better view from above. As the drone hovered over the mound, Alex studied the live feed on his tablet. The mound was perfectly circular, with a slight depression in the center. It was definitely not a natural formation. His heart pounded as he realized he might be looking at an ancient burial mound, similar to the famous Sutton Hoo site. Alex landed the drone and started exploring the area on foot. He pushed through the underbrush and scanned the ground for any signs of artifacts. After hours of searching, he found what he was looking for, a small weathered piece of pottery, half buried in the dirt. His hands trembled as he unearthed it. The pottery was old, very old, and covered in intricate patterns. Alex knew he had to share his discovery with a professional archaeologist. That evening, back at his makeshift camp, he uploaded his findings to an archaeology forum. He included photos of the pottery and the mound. He wrote a detailed description of his exploration and asked for advice on how to proceed. Within minutes, his post was flooded with responses. One message stood out. It was from Dr. Elizabeth Mason, a renowned archaeologist specializing in Anglo-Saxon history. Dr. Mason was intrigued by his discovery and wanted to visit the site herself. Alex could hardly believe his luck. He quickly agreed and they arranged to meet the following week. The thought of working with a professional archaeologist was thrilling. The following week, Alex and Dr. Elizabeth Mason stood side by side, staring at the mound that had captured so much attention. Dr. Mason was a tall, imposing figure with sharp eyes that seemed to take in every detail. She adjusted her hat and nodded to Alex. He launched his drone into the air. The live feed appeared on their tablets and showed a bird's-eye view of the mound. The circular formation was even more pronounced from above. Both Alex and Dr. Mason could see the outlines of what looked like ancient structures buried beneath the earth. "This is definitely not natural," Dr. Mason said. "We might be looking at an ancient burial mound, possibly Anglo-Saxon. This could be a significant find." They guided the drone around the site and captured detailed images and videos. The high-resolution camera picked up more details. Stones arranged in a pattern, patches of different vegetation that suggested underlying structures, and even what looked like the remnant of a pathway leading to the mound. After thoroughly surveying the area, they decided it was time to explore on foot. At the base of the mound, they started by clearing away the underbrush and debris. As they cleared more of the mound, they found more pieces of pottery and small fragments of metal. Each one added to the mounting evidence that this was an ancient burial site. Dr. Mason examined each find with great care, made notes, and took photos. "These patterns are consistent with Anglo-Saxon craftsmanship," she said, holding up a shard of pottery. "We could be looking at a site that predates even Sutton Hoo." Alex's mind raced with possibilities. The Sutton Hoo discovery had been one of the most significant archaeological finds in England, yielding a wealth of artifacts from the early medieval period. If this site was indeed from the same era, it could provide invaluable insights into the Anglo-Saxon world. As they continued to dig, they uncovered larger and more complex artifacts: a beautifully crafted brooch, a piece of a helmet, and what appeared to be parts of a ship's hull. "This is incredible," Dr. Mason murmured. "We need to get more people out here. This could change our understanding of the period." They worked tirelessly for hours. The site was yielding treasures beyond their wildest expectations. By the end of the day, they had a small collection of artifacts that suggested they had indeed stumbled upon a burial mound of great historical significance. As the sun began to set, Alex and Dr. Mason were exhausted but exhilarated. The mound had revealed only a fraction of its secrets, and they knew there was much more to uncover. "We need to get a team out here as soon as possible," Dr. Mason said again. "This is just the beginning." The next morning, Alex and Dr. Mason were joined by a small team of archaeologists and volunteers. News of their initial findings had spread quickly, and the site was now buzzing with activity. Dr. Mason coordinated the team, assigned tasks, and ensured that every artifact was carefully documented and preserved. Alex continued to operate the drone. His aerial footage guided the ground team as the excavation progressed. They began to uncover larger sections of the burial site. The layout became more apparent and revealed what seemed to be the remains of a large ship buried beneath the mound. Dr. Mason called the team together. "We need to be extremely careful from this point forward," she said. "This site appears to be a ship burial, much like Sutton Hoo. If we're correct, this could be one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of the century." The team started finding remnants of weapons, ornate jewelry, and other items that indicated the burial of a high-status individual. As they dug deeper, Alex and Dr. Mason uncovered a large, elaborately decorated shield. Dr. Mason's eyes sparkled as she examined the intricate designs. "This craftsmanship is exquisite," she said. "It must have belonged to someone of great importance." The significance of their findings became even more apparent when they uncovered a beautifully preserved helmet, adorned with intricate patterns and jewels. The helmet was similar in style to the famous Sutton Hoo helmet, but even more elaborate. Dr. Mason carefully lifted it from the ground. "This is extraordinary," she said. "We may have discovered the burial site of a legendary Anglo-Saxon ruler. This changes everything we thought we knew about this period." The historical community quickly took note of their findings. Scholars and experts from around the world reached out to offer their support and expertise. The site became a hub of activity, with researchers flocking to see the artifacts and contribute to the excavation. Dr. Mason and Alex worked tirelessly to coordinate with the growing team and ensure that every discovery was documented. One evening, as they were wrapping up for the day, Dr. Mason said, "I've been studying the layout of the site. It seems to align with certain astronomical features. This could indicate that the burial site was also used for ceremonial purposes." Alex looked at her in surprise. She said the Anglo-Saxons had a deep connection with the stars and the natural world. If this site served a dual purpose, it could provide us with invaluable insights into their culture and beliefs. As they continued to excavate, they found more evidence supporting Dr. Mason's theory. They uncovered altars, ceremonial objects, and even remnants of what appeared to be a large stone circle. The discoveries painted a picture of a complex and sophisticated society, far more advanced than previously thought. The historical significance of the site was fast becoming undeniable. The artifacts and structures they uncovered provided a wealth of information about the Anglo-Saxon period. The discovery of the ship burial, in particular, was a groundbreaking revelation that challenged existing historical narratives. But as the site gained more attention, Alex and Dr. Mason knew they had to be vigilant. The artifacts were valuable not just for their historical significance, but also in monetary terms. The risk of theft or sabotage loomed over them. They had stumbled upon a treasure trove of history, and the world was watching. Alex felt a deep sense of responsibility to protect the site and its artifacts. As the weeks went by, they uncovered even more artifacts that hinted at a complex network of trade and cultural exchange. They found items from as far away as the Middle East and Asia, suggesting that the Anglo-Saxon world was far more interconnected than previously thought. One day, as Alex was examining a section of the burial mound, he uncovered a hidden chamber. Inside was a small, intricately decorated chest. His hands trembled as he opened it. Inside was a collection of scrolls and manuscripts. Dr. Mason rushed over, her eyes widening in disbelief. These manuscripts could contain invaluable information about the Anglo-Saxon period. She said, "We need to handle these with the utmost care." The manuscripts were carefully extracted and taken to a secure location for analysis. As they began to decipher the texts, they found detailed accounts of trade routes, diplomatic missions, and cultural exchanges. The information provided a comprehensive view of a sophisticated and interconnected world. It challenged existing historical narratives and opened up new avenues of research. However, it also intensified the risks as more people became aware of the site's significance. The discovery of the manuscripts brought a new wave of attention and scrutiny to the site. As Alex and Dr. Mason delved deeper into their research, the security measures around the site were tightened. They knew they were uncovering information that could change the understanding of history. Despite the risks, Alex and Dr. Mason were determined to continue their work. They decided to send the drone up again, hoping to get a fresh perspective that might reveal something new. As it ascended, its camera captured the familiar view of the mound and surrounding forest. Alex maneuvered it carefully and scanned the area for any signs they might have missed before. Suddenly, the drone's camera picked up a faint outline near the base of the mound, a shadowy area that looked like an entrance. "That looks like an entrance," Elizabeth said. "We might have missed a hidden chamber." They guided the drone closer to get a clearer view. The shadowy area indeed appeared to be an entrance, partially concealed by earth and vegetation. Alex felt a surge of anticipation. If there was a hidden chamber, it could contain even more significant artifacts. Without wasting any time, they gathered the team and explained their plan. As they worked, the entrance became more visible. It was a narrow passage leading into the mound. They slowly made their way inside. The narrow passage opened up into a larger chamber. It was larger than they had anticipated, with several alcoves containing various artifacts. Alex's heart raced as they explored the chamber. They found more ornate jewelry, intricately decorated weapons, and beautifully crafted pottery. But it was in the farthest alcove that they made the most astonishing find. In the alcove, partially buried under layers of earth and debris, they uncovered an intact burial ship. "This is extraordinary," Elizabeth whispered. "An intact burial ship. This could provide us with invaluable insights into Anglo-Saxon ship burials." As they continued to explore the chamber, they discovered a chest filled with more manuscripts and scrolls. The documents were in pristine condition, protected by the chamber's stable environment. Dr. Mason carefully examined the manuscripts, but the most significant discovery came when they found a large stone tablet in the center of the chamber. The tablet was covered in inscriptions and detailed carvings, depicting scenes of daily life, battles, and ceremonies. Dr. Mason's eyes widened as she read the inscriptions. "This tablet tells the story of a legendary Anglo-Saxon ruler," she said, "a ruler whose existence was considered a myth. This could be the key to understanding a forgotten chapter of history." Days turned into weeks as the team meticulously catalogued their findings from the hidden chamber. The artifacts, manuscripts, and the burial ship were all carefully preserved and studied. The historical community buzzed with anticipation, all eager to see what new revelations would emerge from the excavation. One evening, as Alex and Dr. Mason were poring over the newly uncovered manuscripts, they found something that took their breath away. In the margins of one of the scrolls was a detailed map of the burial site. It showed not only the chamber they had discovered, but another, deeper chamber beneath it. The map also contained annotations that seemed to describe a ritual and the treasures hidden within. The next day, the team set to work, carefully excavating the area indicated on the map. The deeper they dug, the more intricate the site became. Finally, after hours of painstaking effort, they uncovered a narrow tunnel leading even further down. Alex and Dr. Mason led the way. The tunnel opened up into a second chamber, much larger and more elaborate than the first. The walls were covered in the same detailed carvings as in the previous chamber. In the center was a large stone sarcophagus, its lid adorned with intricate designs and inscriptions. Dr. Mason approached it with reverence. She carefully translated the inscriptions. "This sarcophagus belongs to Eldred, a legendary Anglo-Saxon ruler," she said. "His existence has been debated for centuries, but this confirms he was real. According to the inscriptions, he was buried with treasures that symbolize his reign and the alliances he forged." As they lifted the lid of the sarcophagus, they discovered a collection of artifacts that were beyond anything they had imagined. There were golden crowns, jeweled scepters, and ceremonial weapons. Each item was exquisitely crafted. Among them was a well-preserved manuscript that seemed to be Eldred's personal diary. Dr. Mason carefully opened the manuscript. The pages were filled with detailed accounts of Eldred's reign, his battles, his alliances, and his vision for his kingdom. The diary provided a first-hand look into the life and times of a ruler who had been considered a myth. With the discovery of Eldred's sarcophagus and diary, Alex and Dr. Mason realized they had uncovered a treasure trove of astronomical historical significance. The detailed accounts of Eldred's reign, his alliances, and his battles provided unprecedented insights into the Anglo-Saxon period and reshaped the understanding of that era. Alex's love for amateur archaeology and his obsession with drone photography had led to a series of photographs and discoveries that shocked the entire world. He couldn't be happier if he tried.